Welcome to the 11th Island, everybody. I'm Brad. That's Chris over there. And like we said off the top, Jake Paul just beat Tyron Woodley by split decision. And Chris, are we getting this rematch? What's going on here?
I mean, this is the thing, right? Jake Paul was heaving at the end of that fight, and clearly Ariel Helwani was doing the thing where you say, what's next? Obviously, Ariel's looking for a good call out. That's what you do. I mean, you had that Fury guy kind of dangling around there, and here we go, and you throw in Nate Diaz, you throw in these names, and Jake Paul is kind of like, well. You could see it in his eyes. He's barely able to get a sentence finished. He's so tired. But then he's kind of like, oh, okay, like I'm actually just trying to take a break. I haven't even been able to get a haircut. And I mean, have you seen the guy's hair? It's like you see the back of his head. It looks like you got a haircut pretty recently, Jake. But and then they go to Tyron Woodley, and Tyron not even like like you couldn't even tell he fought. He just fought. He was just clear. Boom, 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 boom. Backs him into that corner. And you could see it where, and then like they kind of played off like, oh, you want the money, and then all he had to say was, I don't want the money, I want the fight, and that just the way he said that, just fuck. Oh, I almost swore there. This is not pay-per-view rules here. We're trying to make this for kids. There's a lot of there's a lot of kids in Jake Paul's audience that we're trying to market to here. So, which I mean is I'm going against myself because I'm trashing Paul so much. But Brad, what's going through your head after this fight?
See, I think before we go into the rematch, I let it off kind of. I think we got to talk about the fight.
Yes, let's talk about the fight.
Jake Paul lasted 8 rounds. The whole time leading up to this, it was Jake Paul, is he an actual fighter? I think we proved tonight, as much as we want to kind of bash on Jake Paul, he's a fighter. I think the decision going to Jake Paul was fair. I don't think he got robbed. Some people are going to come in and say that Woodley should have won. I agree with the decision. I think it's fair. I thought probably 5-3 Paul. I would have went in that camp. Jake Paul showed he can take a punch. He showed he can give a punch. Cardio was a little bit suspect there, but the second one really did come on, and he came in. He came in better than some veteran boxers in his 4th professional fight there. And if you want to talk about the rematch here, I don't want to see it. I really don't want to see it because Jake Paul for the next fight will be better. Tyron Woodley will not be better. Tyron Woodley has peaked in what he is in combat sports. Jake Paul is only getting better. So we're just going to see the same result in a close-ish fight where the gap might be a bit more. Where Woodley, I mean, I love Tyron Woodley from his time in MMA and with the UFC. But in his last fights, he hasn't been able to pull the trigger consistently. And that's what happened tonight again. And that's not going to change. And Jake Paul is just going to be better, and we're going to see the same result. I mean, I'd love for Woodley to cash in again, but do you feel the same way?
When you hit a good golf shot, they always say that's the one that keeps you coming back. And there was a few punches in there from Tyron Woodley, and namely that point in that 4th round where he was kind of loading it up. He did his own little bit of emoting there, and that was the one that keeps me coming back for Tyron Woodley. And I really want to see this fight again, Brad. I would disagree. I think that Tyron Woodley now knows that how the time goes. How the time goes in a boxing fight, and then also secondary. What power does when you're wearing the 16-pound gloves. I think there was a couple shots in there where Tyron Woodley
16 ounce, not
16,
pounds. That'd be a hell of a punch with 16 pounds.
I'm not good with measurements, all right? But anyways, what I was saying with the big gloves, so he's going in there, he's throwing these, and if you're an MMA, you're like, okay, I have this much time, I have this much energy, I have this much power I can expend, and this is the power I need to make a knockout. I think there was a little bit of where Woodley was very much playing a game of, I'm going to kite you around he was flying Woodley like a kite, or Paul around like a kite. I'm going to waste your energy. I'm going to drain. I'm not really going to wait. And then in that 4th round, I'm going to turn on. And I think there was a bit of discouragement from Woodley where it's like, well, you're going to need a little, A, Paul's chin, and B, just the atmosphere of boxing. You're going to need a little bit more.
I don't want to see it because Jake Paul proved to me tonight that he can actually fight and he has a place in the sport of boxing. So I think the next logical flow to that would be to fight a real boxer not a old MMA fighter, which was his last 2 fights. And the next logical move in that is a Tommy Fury fight, because Tommy Fury is the only boxer with a similar amount of experience. I mean, Tommy Fury has a lot more amateur experience, but I'm talking about pro experience as Jake Paul, but also carries that name. I mean, Tommy Fury, whether you love him or hate him for it, guy being on Love Island, the brother of Tyson Fury, he's got the multiple million Instagram followers. He's got that kind of that young crowd into
Yeah,
the reality TV with through the Love Island, and that fight sells. But it's also, you're not, either one of them are not stepping out of their range, and either one of them get a big boost off it. And I'm gonna say right now, Jake Paul wins that fight against Tommy Fury.
Oh, of course he wins that fight again. And who cares about the million? I don't know who he is. So like, what's the point there? I mean, that guy looks like John Bull and Aphrodite had a baby. You know, that's what he's got going for him. You know, and so I mean, the Love Island. I mean, just imagine though the Love Island crowd against the Paulers and the Mavericks. You know, the part of I think part of the appeal of this stuff, especially
all you're saying to me is pay-per-view buys.
Yeah, well, and you know, as I said it, my point was going to be that this whole like, I don't even want to say celebrity boxing anymore. What this is now, I feel like it's had to rely on the MMA community a ton, and it's benefited greatly from the MMA community. But now you cut out the MMA community in this. But then I thought, I was like, oh, you're gonna lose so much if you cut all the MMA guys out, and then you're like, wait, Love Island, and then YouTube, like, this is a game ad right here.
And now, as the MMA community, which I think me and you are a part of, we're tuning in just because we're so invested to see him lose. Then now we got to follow it through to the end until somebody knocks him out.
We're invested. Okay, so we're invested to see him lose, but then a Love Island guy wins. Like it's the it's the opposite of a Sophie's Choice here.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, one of these days, Jake Paul is going to get his lights knocked out, and it's not going to be as satisfying as Greg Hardy, but it's going to be that similar where it finally happened.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And I mean, I one thing I'd like to say at the end here, and like with you to respond, just I'm kind of sick of the whole narrative that he's the influencer, he's the YouTuber, he's coming in. Will this be the time? I feel like every single interviewer in the ring has asked him, now are you solidified? Now are you legitimized now? Eventually, you just gotta say this guy's legit. You know, eventually we just gotta.
No, he is.
Yeah, and it's
I think tonight's when we saw that too.
No, but it wasn't. I don't even think it was tonight. I think it was in the Ben Askren fight. That's because that's what we were saying. Everybody was saying, well, now we have to. I mean, there was some caveats with Ben Askren, but generally it was okay. Now we got to respect this guy, and then the next fight rolls around and saying, well, can we even respect this guy? Well, the odds go in his favor. You know, it's eventually the narrative is just tired and it's being used. It's getting old.
That's fair. And I think we got to start wrapping up. The TikTok crowd that we're playing to does not have the same attention span that we are used to. So Chris, you got anything else to add?
No, I'm going to hit the music, Brad. Just play us out. I'm waiting for the music to pop.
Comment, subscribe if you like this video. We have giveaways going for 250 and 350 subscribers. Check out the sports card playlist for that. And yeah, we're going to stay tuned. We got more immediate reactions coming, more stuff in the UFC, football world. So subscribe, stay tuned to the channel, and we'll see you later.
All right, so we got to get thumbnail made. Brad, start working on the description. We got to get this up in 10 minutes. This is getting old already. Oh wait, I got